Hello. Hopefully you're well as you tune into this. Please don't make anything fit. This is not going to resonate 110% of everybody who's here, and that's okay. If you want to take a deep breath, you can. You don't have to, but it might help. 1, 2, 3. And then let it go. Okay, so we have two cards here. We I'm being silly. We have the Five of Cups, and we also have the Queen of Cups, disappointment and intuition. And at the bottom of the deck, top of the deck, we do have the Three of Pentacles works. So one thing that I heard was working with the intuition. Somebody is really getting in tune to their intuition, getting in alignment with what they already know. I could be talking to somebody who has for a very long time been ignoring their intuition, and once again you are recently or you're about to get back into trusting your intuition, listening to that voice in your head. We do have the Nine of Cups here. You could be manifesting specific goals and desires. There's a lot of cups energy coming through, and then as I say that, we have the Ace of Pentacles, wealth. There's a lot of cups energy though, and so there's a lot of emotions, there's a lot of feelings. I feel like 1 second. Okay. So, what was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. I paused and then I said a little prayer in between takes. There's a lot of feelings, there's a lot of emotions, but I do also, and then as I say that, the freaking Ace of Cups is here. I am also seeing somebody manifesting money, manifesting wealth, and I feel like I'm tuned into somebody who's learning about how important it is to honor thy emotions when it comes to manifesting, whether you're manifesting emotional things or you're manifesting money, whether you're manifesting relationships. We do have the Two of Cups and the Chariot, so there is a thing about balance. Somebody is really having to embrace balance. I am seeing somebody scroll on TikTok, scroll on social media, and no judgment, no shame, but once again, balance, knowing that at some point, specifically if you have these goals, if you're trying to accomplish certain things, at some point, reeling yourself back in, pulling yourself back in, and locking in, as the kids say, honing in your focus on the things that need to get done. That doesn't mean you can't scroll, that doesn't mean you can't have a good time, that doesn't mean you can't mess around and be silly sometimes, but also making sure that you come back to what's important. I'm also seeing somebody who is really wanting to break out of their shell, somebody who really is wanting to be more of a social butterfly. You might be a social caterpillar right now, but you're wanting to spread your wings, you're wanting to get off the ground, if I can say that correctly. Once again, please don't make anything fit. This is not going to resonate 110% of everybody who's here, so only take what resonates. And I feel like for some of you, part of the reason why you want to be more social is so that you can create more opportunities, more potential connections, if I can freaking speak, more potential connections for money, for wealth. I feel like I'm talking to an entrepreneur, somebody who would consider themselves an entrepreneur, if I can fucking speak. And part of being an entrepreneur is being very social, is being able to connect with people and whatever. So that is something. So in between takes, I asked the question of what blessings are coming towards you. Obviously these are timeless, so whenever you do see this, if you are open to it, if you are aligned with it, then it should apply. If not, whatever. But what things are coming towards you? We do have the Queen of Swords and then the Princess of Wands. Independence and exploration. So one thing about it, I am seeing somebody getting better, having more confidence. I did not finish that sentence. Getting better at socializing and having more confidence. The Seven of Swords also comes out. We also have the Devil card here. There could be a blessing in disguise. I am seeing somebody, trigger warning, I am seeing somebody in a DV situation or a really messed up relational situation. This could be past tense, this could be present tense, it could also be future tense. But once again, it feels like a blessing in disguise. It feels like, it might not necessarily be the most ideal, but it definitely will help you get closer to this Ace of Pentacles, to this wealth. And I say Ace of Pentacles, but really wealth is more so the 10 of Pentacles. I like this deck a lot. I never really thought about that one specific card though, because Ace of Pentacles is new opportunities, new beginnings, seeds sprouting, you know what I mean? But I personally, as a reader, would classify the Ten of Pentacles as like wealth. But anyways, you have the Devil card here again. For some of you, this messed up situation could also just be a job. It could be a job that you don't like, or isn't really nice to you, or isn't really respectful towards you. But I do see you making the best of that. I do see you doing what you need to do, being who you need to be to navigate through the situation with the Six of Swords. One thing about it is maintaining peace, maintaining your sense of peace, your identity. You're the King of Wands, leadership. 1 second. Okay, so in between takes, I asked the question of like, what is your general energy? And we did the Seven of Cups, the Eight of Wands, Ace of Wands. So I am seeing somebody making a lot of progress, they're making a lot of movements, creating a lot of opportunities for themselves. And one thing about that, with the Seven of Cups, in the reverse, in the negative, it can talk about overwhelm, it can talk about illusions, deception, if I could freaking not choke on my words. And that could be relevant for somebody. Maybe somebody's choking on their words, or maybe somebody's like having to eat their words. You know the phrase like when somebody says something and then they're proved wrong. Like somebody could be about to be proved wrong. Maybe you're having to eat your words, however that resonates. But your general energy right now, I do see a lot of forward movement. 1 second. I didn't realize that. I knew the radio was on, but I didn't realize that it might interfere, so I'm sorry if that was weird. But what's going on for whoever's in front of me, whoever's tuned into this, what's going on? We do have the Queen of Cups, intuition once again, and then the Five of Cups again. One thing about it is when we follow our intuition, we can't always see the full picture. And sometimes when we follow our intuition, there's a caveat there, hold on. Sometimes when we follow our intuition, we end up in places that we might not necessarily love or adore, but there is a greater lesson. And then there's also something coming through, before I forget, about like sometimes we think it's our intuition, but it's really just trauma. It's really just, you know what I mean? Our fear speaking. So there is something about differentiating fear from intuition, which is a pretty common thing. I think a lot of people. And the thing about that is like that's a personal journey. Like that requires a lot of meditation, and it requires a lot of looking within, really understanding what our intuition actually sounds like. I know there's a practice. Don't hate me if this doesn't sound the most cohesive, but there is a practice where you like directly communicate with your intuition to like get closer to your intuition. So that's a thing. 1 second. I asked for closing messages and the Moon card did appear. So there could be something about dreams, something about paying attention to your dream state. Alternatively, following the dreams, following your dreams, if I can say that properly, might be a necessary thing. Like, you know, not giving up on the things that are important to you. And there's also something coming through about breaking things down. Like, I think some of you have really big ambitions, very big goals, and it's really necessary that you break those down into tangible steps. You know, instead of reaching for the stars, you know, starting in an airplane and then like maybe getting a ladder and going up to, you know what I mean? That sounds a little silly, but you know what I mean? One step at a time, and sometimes if you need to take a half step, that's okay. I hope this was helpful to you. I hope this was useful. I hope you know that everything is temporary. Whatever you're going through is temporary. So try to keep your head up. Try to keep your spirits high. I thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope you check out the link tree in the description. I hope you know that you are so loved. And I appreciate you. Bye.